Right, so you are joining us, and we have a classroom full of sophomores.
Awesome.
And you remember being a sophomore all those years ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah. Uh, and for our interview, it'll be pretty simple. I'll just ask you some questions. We'll talk a little bit about early college, a little bit about your college experience, then we'll move into the important, valuable stuff you're doing now.
Okay.
But thank you again for joining us today.
Of
It's
course.
nice to see you again.
Yeah, I know it's been a while.
All right, so when did you graduate high school?
It was 2015.
2015. Class of 2015 was a really good class. It's one of the smartest classes to ever come through here. We actually have been joined by a few class of 2015 people. And you coming to early college, you weren't alone, were you?
No, I had my twin sister with me.
All right. So Miss Street has a twin as well who recently got married. Yes.
Yes. So
That
now she is Mrs. Webb.
this is wow. That's exciting. All right. So if you think back to your early college experience, where were your classes when you first started here?
They were in the older tech buildings. It was pretty much spread across the campus. I remember we would have to walk all the way to the end to go to the cafeteria and walk all the way back to get to our classes. And then I think halfway through our experience, then the new building got built. So we got to spend some time in the new building, but most of it was in the old tech buildings.
Awesome. And for a lot of our sophomores, they're pretty familiar with the old building. It's where Starbucks is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you got a little bit of an experience in both places. What did you enjoy most about your experience with early college?
I mean, one of the best things was that you got to get to know people from all around the county. I mean, there was kids from North Myrtle Beach, there was kids from Conway, there was kids from Sockasty and Murrells Inlet area. So you got to really expand and network. And then also the opportunity to get your associate's degree. I mean, that and anytime I tell somebody about that experience, they're like, wait, what? You graduated high school with an associate's degree. So it's a really rare opportunity. And I love that we got to take advantage of that.
And when you think back on your experience, how did your family support you?
Well, our mom, she was amazing. She would, because of the bus route and stuff, we didn't get reached. So she would get up every day really early, drive us all the way to Ori Georgetown Tech, and then we would have to go through all the buses to get back home in the afternoon. But she made sure that we were able to get to school every day. When we had the like the community events, we would go and do that, the volunteering, all of those events. She made sure that she was there and that she supported us and took us and made sure that we got our work done. And she was pretty strict in us getting good grades, which I mean it works out now because with good grades came scholarships and grants and a lot more opportunities. So it worked out. Although at the time we were pretty annoyed when she'd be like, a B? No, A. You need to get an A.
How's mom?
She is doing amazing. She's just working. And then our little brother is now a freshman in high school. He's going to Coastal Leadership Academy.
Awesome. All right. So when you're in early college, what organizations were you a part of?
National Honor Society. I was actually, I think I have it around here somewhere. I was inducted into like a National Honor Society yearbook, and it highlighted kids from all over the country, the high schools that they went to that they were in the top part of their class. And then there were some other organizations that I probably forget the names of, but I know we did some with Mr. Powley and then some through our like homerooms.
And did you win the Pelican Scholarship?
Yes, I did. Sam and I did.
That was neat. For the sophomores who don't know, the Pelicans offer two scholarships every year to early college students. It's only early college students. Uh, and it's through the Bruce Del Canton Scholarship. That's what it's called. But they're very supportive. They still give the scholarship away. So it's a good one for those who are involved. So congrats on that again, even though
Thanks.
it's like 20 years ago.
I know.
All right. So you graduated in 2015. Then where'd you go to college?
So I kind of bounced around a little bit, actually. I started at CCU, but then I ended up not finishing because I moved to Kentucky. So I went online to University of Nebraska and got my bachelor's in sociology. And then I started my master's at Campbellsville University, which is in Kentucky as well. But then I ended up moving to Georgia for a job opportunity, and which was opening up a private practice with somebody. So I finished in Georgia, still going online to Campbellsville University though, and then I got my master's and went on to take my licensure exam, and then now I'm here.
All right. So you bounced around, went to a lot of different places, a lot of moving around, and that stuff happens, right? Uh,
Yes.
but you found solutions to make it work. All right. So what do you do now?
So I do two jobs. So I'm still doing the private practice in Georgia. So it's all telehealth. I'm dually licensed in Georgia and South Carolina. So I'm a licensed social worker in Georgia and South Carolina. And then here I work as a sexual assault counselor at the Rape Crisis Center. We work with primary and secondary survivors of sexual assault. So those who experience it directly, and then those right around them, like immediate family members that experience trauma from the trauma. And so, I mean, we have a couple, like I have a 12-year-old girl, and her mom is in therapy too, because her mom was traumatized by the experience her daughter went through. So we do primary and secondary. And then we offer legal aid, victims advocate. We have volunteers that work with us, and we do prevention and outreach.
It's a lot of stuff.
It is. It is a lot of stuff. And we're a
Uh,
small staff of 6.
and is that pretty typical in terms of what a lot of people going to school for social work do?
So social work is actually one of the most broad topics, or I guess degrees that you could get, because you can do so much with it. I mean, you can do therapy, which is what I do. You can do outreach, you can do community work, you can work in a nonprofit, you can go into a private practice, you can work in the schools, you can work in hospitals. Like, it is a very useful degree because you can go and do a handful of things.
And with that, I assume you pretty much have to get the master's degree too.
Yes, you have to get a master's degree and you have to be licensed to be able to do therapy.
Okay. What do you find most rewarding about your job?
I find it the most rewarding when I am closing somebody out, they've done their therapy, they're going through discharge, and they have a genuine, like, heartfelt conversation about how much therapy changed them and how they found their voice and found how to advocate for themselves, how to implement boundaries, how to heal from their trauma and not let it hold them back. And it's just amazing to see when people come in, they come in, shell of a person. They've been through a lot of trauma and they're not trusting anybody. And then when they leave, they are ready for anything that comes at them, and it's amazing to see that progress, because little by little you'll see the more, like a month later after them coming in, they've started to open up more, and then 2 months later they're working through their trauma, and it's hard, but they're showing up and they're coming every week, and then by the time that they're ready to go, they are just so excited to be themselves again.
Awesome. What do you think is the hardest thing about your job?
It's definitely being the carrier of the trauma, because for that person, they come in and they're just spilling it out, but then I have another person after them and another person after them, and so by the end of the day I've heard 10 different stories, and a lot of them are really explicit and really graphic. And I mean, there's been times where I've had to, like, look up at the ceiling so I'm not bawling my eyes out in the session with them. So being able to process that myself has been really difficult.